You should
Yeah.
get it, Boston.
Mega tribute.
It was on, what was the materiastore.com? Was the one that Late Elf put in Discord.
Yeah. Oh, it's a Materia Collective album. I didn't realize that.
Yep.
Oh, I
Nice.
forgot about my new T-shirt today.
Nice.
Nice. Here we go. Bringing it full circle for everything this week. This album, special thanks, Dale North. Good job, Dale North. You're everywhere.
But yeah, I finally got a chance to sit down and listen to both CDs. And yeah, they did a really good job. I really like it. So
yeah, this seems really good. I'll have to check that out. Yeah, there's 44 tracks. Wow.
Oh, and
Jeez.
Boston, this T-shirt was from Bib, by the way. The Bib, that Bib.
Okay.
that bib.
Yeah, if you've seen cute, like really cute, like sketches of cats on Twitterverse, it's Bib.
Yeah. Oh, that album is on Spotify too. If anyone wants to check it out.
Was it?
Yeah.
Cool. I actually, the CD finally showed up, and I didn't have it because of all the fun crap I had to deal with. I didn't have a chance to listen to it until this past week. But my CD player in my computer just like wouldn't eject.
Oh, fun.
Like, what the fuck? And then I'm sitting there thinking, it's like, okay.
Time to get the old paperclip out.
Yeah.
Well, no, attempted that. No, it wouldn't eject that either. So I'm like, wow, this is really busted. So I'm sitting there thinking, it's like, okay, I can hook my PS3 up so that way I can listen to it. But but then I pulled my computer apart and reset all the connections for my CD drive, and it just started working. It was like, sweet. So I ripped the CD to my computer. That way I could download it to my phone and listen to it that way. But
wow, yeah, that's a really nice looking CD. It's actually on sale right now for only $13.
I was gonna say it's still on sale. I would highly recommend buying it, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. Yeah, that's a cool package. I'm gonna have to save this. I will have to buy this after we move back into our house.
I was gonna say, I haven't even opened up the booklet that comes with it yet. So,
all right, let me retweet this stuff, and then we will get started. That too. Okay, close all of that. Okay.
I hate your show notes sometimes, Boston.
Why is that?
Because they introduced me to games that I didn't realize I wanted.
Yeah, that's kind of always the problem.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you guys ready?
Yep.
Yeah, sure.
All right, starting in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of That Video Game Podcast. I'm your host, Boston. Joining me as always is Moonbeer.
Hi.
And the Nymph.
Hello.
Don't forget about patreon.com/E1M1.
The ones and numbers.
You can also, I just set it up, I'm hoping it still works, patreon.tvgp.tv. If you don't want to remember all the other stuff, Moon's going to try it out right now and let me know if it still works. Over at either URL, you can find all the cool exclusive and early access episodes. Moon's giving me a thumbs up. Fantastic. So a recommended tier is the $5 a month tier, not per episode, just per month. You get exclusive access to The Outcast. We just recorded almost 50 minutes this week about a whole bunch of movies and TVs and a whole lot of behind-the-scenes stuff here about making podcasts in general. That Outcast is also uncensored and exclusive to patrons. You get 2-week early access to We Roguelike It, a show where Moon and I are playing Wink every roguelike in history. We are playing a banger of a video game right now. If you have Game Pass and you are not playing Dreamscaper, you are missing out. It's very good. And you get a couple month early access to Critical Misses, show where Moon and I are catching up on the media hits we've missed. We are starting season 13 here. If you're a patron at the $5 or higher tier, you get access to the Between Season Production Meeting. That's an exclusive episode over on Patreon as well. That was a really good one. Talked about a lot of seasons we have in the works. Come up with a bunch of cool ideas, and we settled on a pretty cool season that I think you'll enjoy for season 13. You can check all of that out.
I'll enjoy it, all the listeners will enjoy it.
Everybody. The royal everyone. And you can check all of that out at patreon.com/E1M1.
That was Louise.
Thank you, Louise. Moon, what have you been playing this past week?
Okay. I think I'm going to do them in reverse order to my notes this week because I think I want to end with that one.
Spicy.
Very spicy indeed. Like my kitty cat's horrendous breath. So she has the worst breath I've ever smelled.
And she wants to be in your face 100% of the time.
Yep.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
All the fur you're gonna have to pull out of your beard.
Every day, dude. So Hitman 2/1/2. 2 in 1, 1 in 2. We go together like rama lama 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 dingy 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 dong. I don't know musicals. That was it.
Are you
I'm
having a stroke?
That I got that far. It continues to be more Hitman, which is to say, like, I'm still slowly but surely working my way through it. I maybe have slowed down a little bit while I try and focus on other games. True. And a different game I'll talk about this week. But, you know, it's Hitman. I like Hitman. And I'm an idiot for taking this long to play the thing. But I'm looking forward to making my way slowly but surely through the level still and continuing on to the new content, which I haven't played.
Right.
I need to unlock all of that goodness that you get for playing Hitman 1. Like the little remote explosive Napoleon blown apart that I just unlocked in Paris.
That's pretty good. I thought you were going to talk about the exploding duck. That's a classic, but Napoleon blown apart.
I already have the exploding duck. Like, you get the exploding duck, I think, as part of like the legacy pack, but it's the white one. It's not the yellow one or the red one. It's the white one for reasons. So
it's
I have
the
no
rare
idea why.
variety. You played the exploding duck gotcha game.
It's the exploding goose instead, because if anything is going to explode at you and do some damage to you, it's going to be a goose. Let's face it.
That's fair. That is on brand.
As somebody who lives close to Canada, it's 100% a goose.
Yep.
I played a bit more Rainbow Six Extraction. I really hate how much fun I'm having with this game.
I really hate how great it is.
No, because it's one of those games where it feels like it doesn't know its audience. Yeah. Because your hardcore Rainbow Six people are not going to want to play this because it's not PvP.
Right.
Your newbies into the series are not going to want to play this because it's Rainbow Six.
Right.
So pretty much the direct market for this game is people who like the concept of Rainbow Six but hate the PvP side.
They love Siege, they just don't want to play it.
Yeah. So me, basically, is what we're talking about here. Like, it has an audience of me. That is literally the only people I can think of.
Sick of getting shot and teabagged by your own team? Rainbow Six Extraction.
Dude, so many times.
Yep, it's really annoying.
It's the Rocket League equivalent of missing a goal and just seeing nice save being spammed. Nice shot. Thank you. I get it. I missed the goal.
Yep. Or you pick a particular person and you just get killed as soon as the round starts because why are you picking that person? I don't know. I'm picking people to play.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Do they still do that stuff?
Come on.
You get shot directly in the back for
picking someone
or whatever.
100%.
That happened to
It's
me so many times
online.
too when I first started, and I'm like, "What is going on?"
Wait, so
Yeah.
what? This is the first I'm hearing about it. Is it because are they picking someone because they didn't synergize with the team, or
To this
Dude,
day, I
take
don't
your
know.
pick.
Yeah,
Okay.
Take your pick. They didn't synergize with the team. You picked
Right.
somebody well one of the blueberries wanted to play as, so therefore you need to die because
Sure.
there isn't any other operators that they can
or
play
I
as.
shot a man just to watch him bleed?
Yeah. I shot a man just to watch him bleed, or that person's overpowered in the meta, or like garbage tier in the meta, so therefore you're not allowed to pick them either.
I love the
it's
like
all in the meta.
yeah I love the like
Uh-huh.
League of Legends like brain here of just like they're too strong, they can't be on my team. It's like, bro, are you what? Anyway,
Uh-huh.
I don't want to devolve into figuring out why the internet is terrible. We'll be here all day.
Yes. It's great and terrible. It reminds
Right.
me of those like adverts in the early 2000s. I think Dell put them out, where it's like, here is why the internet is great, and here is why the internet is bad, and it was two
Right.
separate commercials. It
Yeah,
reminds me of that whole thing, and it's only gone uphill and downhill from there. We'll say.
that's right.
But no, it continues to be fun, and we had a wild Justin sighting this week too. So we
Ooh.
had 3 people, and we very quickly realized that game escalates so hard as soon as there is 3 people involved in any of the rounds. It's like, oh, you got 3 people. Well, here, have all of the nightmares, just all of them.
That's good though, because normally when you play a game like that, it's 3 people, and it's like, all right, it's easy mode. Let's do this.
Literally, it's the opposite. That's the scary thing. Like with
That's
2
exciting.
people, it feels manageable and doable.
Sure.
Me and Rob together, obviously we have higher level people than Justin does at this point, but together we can clear out a 2-star with relatively ease on 3, depending on the missions. We do 3 stacks, we can do it on 2 stars. 3-star difficulty, maybe we're doing 1 or 2, but it's a challenge.
Sure.
On 1-star difficulty with 3 people, it's just like, oh boy, we just got worked. Like,
look at all these dudes over here. Wow.
And that's like including the self-spotting drone that I've got, where I just literally take it for a cruise, like a micro machine around the level, so I can get all of the enemies spotted. Like,
right.
It includes all of that jazz, and it's still so difficult with 3 people.
That's wild.
I
kind of respect
it's still fun.
Yeah.
I respect it. It's still fun. Like, I enjoy just going in, seeing what happens, and so we were winding down, and jokingly, like, I unlocked the final 3 characters that I need to unlock. I think I got them 3, and I played as one of them, and unlocked an LMG for them. But the LMG doesn't have a suppressor; it just has a compensator, so it's not a silenced LMG, which conceptually in itself is a bit stupid.
Make sense. Yeah, that's an oxymoron.
Yeah, but this one only has a compensator, and then, like an idiot, Rob was like, we should go loud. We should do 1 loud run. Just to see what happens.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Let's do 1 loud and see what happens.
Yeah.
Like,
kick down the door. Taste lead.
I'm kidding. And I was like, no, you want to do loud? Let's do loud. You want to do 4-star difficulty as well? Let's just see what happens.
I'm already in the other room shooting. Where are you?
We know there was a 4-star.
That's right. Brat, let's go.
But no, we ended up doing a 1-star difficulty because it was the 3 of us. And we all went loud, and it was like, as long as your aim is okay and you keep control of the situation, generally speaking, you're fine.
Okay.
So it is possible to do them loud. It just means that you have to be on the button with every single enemy that even gets a sight of you, because the way they spot you is they do this like build-up thing where they do like a Super Saiyan charge, where just like charging up all this energy, and then they do like a little scream, and it alerts everybody, and it makes the nests active, and then they just keep spawning more and more people until you kill the nests. If you stop them from doing the scream, they don't alert anybody. So as long as you're relatively on the button with it, then you're fine. But you've either got to be making sure you're scanning the whole thing ahead of time, or you're really paying attention to those little on-screen like sound indicators, where it's like, yes, here is a footprint beside me. Here is, people walking on the other side of this wall.
Oh, right.
Like, you've got to pay real close attention to that stuff. But, it's fun. It's stupid. And I like it. And I hate the fact that I like it. And they have really good punny achievement names. Like,
Yeah.
don't talk to rangers, I got, which is killing a whole bunch of ranged enemies who like projectile fire at you.
Mm-hmm. I'll take it.
It's like, okay, credit where
like
it's
it.
due.
I like a good punny achievement.
I love punny achievements. It's my favorite thing on the planet. Is you pop me an achievement that's a really bad pun, and I will adore it forever.
Yep.
With the exception to the puns being "It was Tuesday," which will forever be one of my favorite achievements.
Yep. One of the best on this show's history.
Yes. Oh boy. So my final game this week. It is Narita Boy.
Ah, yes.
This is the Tronabee that we were talking about. This was the one that left Game Pass 4 days ago. Yes, I did get my full gamer score. Thank you very much.
Burgeoning subgenre Tronabee.
Yes.
Is this the game you tweeted? Okay. I thought it would be. Yeah. Okay.
So if you follow me on Twitter, I made a slightly random tweet about like really enjoying a game story, and then it takes a hard left.
Yep. Out of nowhere.
That was this game. That was this game.
I had a suspicion.
Man, it's telling this really heartfelt story. Do you know the story of this game?
I do not.
Okay. So it's fun to play, it's enjoyable, and like part of the whole process is you're rebuilding the creator's memories so you can try and bring stabilization back to the system. So back to the digital kingdom, which is just one vowel away from being a Disney copyright, it feels like.
Right.
But it's this really interesting thing of like this dude, and it feels a little displaced, but it was a dude who was a kid of mixed race growing up in Japan, and his dad was a white dude, his mother was Asian, and it's this whole story about like the things that he did and like his relationship with his parents. And then there was this accident and the dad leaves and he goes and lives with his grandma, and it's like this really, really heartfelt thing that I'm like, I swear, if this game makes me cry by the end, I'm going to start slapping some people kind of thing. I'm looking at you, Dreamscaper, as well, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Go play Dreamscaper. It's great.
Yes. So I'm sitting here and I'm getting through the story. It's like, okay, so he comes up with the idea for Narita Boy, which is, it's not just a character, it's the game and the computer system that he designed to bring all of eternal life back to whatever.
Should we give a spoiler warning at this point?
Yes. You should 100% tag this right now for spoilers. Because I'm going to spoil this and I don't care. Because I don't...
Spoiler.
I was so down
just
with this
make it
game.
one long beep for him,
That's right. For the next 3 minutes. Beep.
Beep the hell out of me. Do it right now. Just beep, 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 beep. So yeah, he comes up with this idea for the Narita Boy, and it's going to be a thing passed down generations, and he goes to college in America and he meets a girl and they get married and they have a son too. And then he gets lost in the coding and him starts to take over, which is the bad guy. It was him. Kind of like Master Control Program, except it's HIM.
Does it stand for something?
No, it does, but like, who knows?
Highly
it's not the
intelligent machine.
Possibly, yes. But like, he gets corrupted by the code and all of a sudden he's a cult leader being arrested and sent to jail.
The what now?
Like, legit cult leader, like 80s, like hippie style cults where he's like in robes on a platform with like the symbol of the game on his robes, and everybody's like in cloaks around him being like, yes, we worship the whatever. What the hell? Like, if it hadn't have taken the hard left to cult leader and jail time, and then to make it even better, he eventually gets out of jail. He sees his kid while he's in jail. He regains the light, and then he gets out of jail and produces Narita Boy the console as well as Narita Boy the game, and self-publishes it to wild success.
Okay. So
And go ahead.
Are there multiple endings? Because this almost sounds like it's the bad ending.
I was going to
got
ask...
every collectible. I got
was
the
say,
good memories.
Does your Xbox camera turn on only to show that you have been Naruto Boy this entire time?
Yes.
What it's saying, that's what it's hinting at, is like the interface between like humans and the machines and everything like that. And it's just like, you went from charming, like Tron-like thing to really weird cult thing, and then to bio-digital jazz man right at the end. It's like that middle section is just like a really weird swing, because then whatever happens, like eventually it turns out that the Narita boy you are playing is not the creator, it's the son. So you're playing as the son, and then you get like ejected, you collect all the memories, you beat him, whatever, but him has already put himself on a server in the real world, so therefore you can't truly kill him because him is already invaded the real world and taken over your dad and whatever. But then you get there, you get out into the real world, you save your mother, blah 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 blah, and then in the Narita boy costume, which is now in the real world,
Gotcha.
your dad pulls up in a DeLorean outside your mom's house, throws you a floppy disk, which you insert into your chest, which that's the upgrade system. You get floppy disks, you push them in your chest, and you get a new ability. And then it comes up with beat 'em up. And then you get in the car, drive off, and the credits hit.
Oh, so tune in next week for Narita Beat 'em Up.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And I don't know anymore how I feel.
Yeah.
I don't.
It's you're
the
not wrong.
hardest left turn.
Yeah, you're not wrong. It's
a
a very wild swing.
But it also sounds dumb enough to work.
I respect I respect the attempt at the very least.
Yeah, and if it wasn't for that fact that it pops up with the whole beat 'em up thing at the end, because I was like, no, you don't get to do this because I just got my final achievement in this game, so I know this game is over. So
right, I've done it.
Throw this beat 'em up thing in my face, because he changes the way he looks and everything, and it starts doing the side scrolling thing while you're in the DeLorean, like Streets of Rage, going to the next level, and it's just like, okay, I get it. I enjoyed so much about this game. The music is sick. The combat, again, is okay. Platforming is okay. 60% of the story is absolute banging amazing. It's just that weird switch in the middle where it's like an amalgamation of like... I'm going to invoke his name. An amalgamation of like Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, and Jared Leto, period, in the center. That's a little bit. It's a little bit squiffy. But, and then ending on a cliffhanger is whatever. Everybody ends on a cliffhanger these days. That's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like, why? Why the cult leader thing?
That's wild, man.
Don't get me wrong, I even like the part where you turn into Big N, which is Big Narita Boy, and smash your way through a city. That's fine too.
That sounds pretty good, actually.
It's dope. But it's just like, I don't know how I feel about this leader guy, like the creator, being like legitimately like the scary kind of cult thing is what they're showing.
Right.
And it's like, I don't know if I needed that. Could have just done with the family story, and that would have been fine. Maybe cut this entire section of the game out, and it'll be like 2 hours shorter, but that's fine. I think it would be better that way. It was a fine game. It was actually really fun to play, especially towards the end when you start getting a whole bunch of abilities and you're doing uppercuts and down slashes and everything else. But at the same time, it's just like, I don't want to put on my open wizard hat in this game, let me tell you.
That's right. Oh boy.
Today is just a day of references.
Full circle.
Yeah. Down.
Yeah.
I don't know. Narita is weird. Watch the trailer. If you like it, go play it. If you don't like it, then don't play it. But
Yeah.
spoilers over. Be prepared for weirdness.
Yeah. Man.
Yeah, that is all I've been playing. Nim, take me away from this.
Well, that's kind of hard to follow up.
Yeah, no kidding.
So for Fuga, Melodies of Steel, I did beat it, and then I did go back through and platinum it.
Hey, nice.
That took way too long.
Yeah, I appreciate how much they let you like skip a whole bunch of content, but there was still a bunch of stuff at the end where it's like, I need one more trophy, and I just want to be done with it at this point.
My last one, so I had to play the game 4 times over to finally platinum it, and the last one that I had to work on was leveling everybody up to 50.
Oh, okay. Last one was making all of the level whatever relationships between like whatever 30 combos of people or whatever. Yeah. That
one finally popped before I started working on the leveling one, because that one was taking a while too. Yeah. But on my 4th playthrough to finally get everyone to level 50, I am pretty much at the end of the game, so I might as well just beat it again at some point.
Yeah, sure.
Get that all the way clear save file.
Right.
But besides the grinding, still a really good game. I mean, I enjoyed it enough to sit there and platinum it.
I feel like that says a lot.
Yeah. I pretty much put it on turbo and held down triangle to skip everything because I'd already seen it. So that cut my game run times down from like days to like, hey, I just beat this game in an afternoon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like, I got a 4-hour run, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, really good game. Check it out, Fuga, Melodies of Steel. I highly, highly recommend it. Next, because I have a bunch of games, but not a whole lot to really say about any of them. Metroid Dread.
Oh, yeah.
I moved my Switch back in my room so that way I could start playing it. Which sucks for my son, who also happened to buy Kirby and hasn't had a chance to play it because I also bought another Switch game.
Right.
So, Metroid Dread, I
Switch kiddo.
Yeah.
I have been debating about picking up another Switch, but it doesn't happen enough that I can really okay that move.
Yeah,
since I would have to hunt it down. So
yeah, it's still like just enough money. It's not like $100. You're like, all right, yeah, like I can kind of justify this. It's still like the OLED one. I think is what, $240. I think
something like that.
So it's sort of like, that's a lot of money, man.
That's a family discussion. But anyway,
for a kid that doesn't have a job.
But so I am up against the final boss in Metroid Dread.
Oh, nice.
At some point they ratchet up the difficulty like way up there.
Oh no.
To the point that I'm like yelling at my TV, like I'm playing a Souls game.
Right.
It also doesn't help that the controls aren't that great.
Mm-hmm.
But after yelling at the TV for quite some time, like I said, I am up against the final boss. I have not been able to beat the final boss yet, because the last time I played it, I found out that it has a Phase 2.
Oh.
Phase 2 is even harder than Phase 1.
Oh, no.
Which is when I put down the controller. I was like, all right, screw this. I'm done for right now. I will come back to it. It's just all right now. It's just recognizing patterns, and the major issue besides the controls, the other major issue that I have is that it is really reliant on QTEs.
Oh, interesting.
Which normally doesn't bother me, but they do the whole thing where it's like in a cutscene and there's a bunch of things flashing and you have to watch for the correct flashing thing to do your counter.
Oh, bummer.
So you have to parse out what's actually happening and everything's moving super fast. So it's like too old for this crap, man.
That's right.
Also, if I'm correct, if you fail that QTE, you die.
You either die if you don't have enough health, or you just basically restart the cycle of the fight. And then have to get them back down far enough, which at that point you've taken so much damage or you don't have enough resources that it's like, you might as well just kill me.
Yeah.
So, but besides those two big issues that I have, it's pretty well that and getting lost too. That's a third one, I guess. Constantly getting lost in that stupid game.
Right.
It is pretty fun though. It just needs a lot of time to play.
Right.
But yeah, I will try to work on that at some point. I've gotten to the point where I can't really quit and walk away from it.
Yeah,
But
you're right. You're right there. Like,
yeah, but I can definitely set it down and stare at it from across the room for a little bit. So
glare at it, like,
yeah.
All right.
Next game that I played, and which is part of the reason why I moved the Switch into my room, is Triangle Strategies.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
This game is awesome. If you do not like the graphics from Octopath Travelers, this is that 1-to-1.
Yeah.
So if those graphics kind of really didn't jive with you, maybe play the demo. The free demo is still on the eShop, so you can download that.
And that carries the progress carries over, if I remember correctly, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
And I think it's the first 2 chapters of the demo. I don't remember off the top of my head all of a sudden.
Okay.
But the beginning of the game is straight up a JRPG because it is just throwing content at you and lore. And I think the first 8 hours of me playing the game, I fought twice because the rest of it was just an info dump.
Here's the 30th character. It's like, wait a minute.
So you are basically the son of, I don't know, this lord that has sworn fealty to this king, standard medieval high fantasy JRPG stuff.
Right.
You are now the head of the house, and you have to, where I'm at now, you get to choose basically paths that you get to follow.
Mm-hmm.
There's a whole branching tree that you can pull up and
show.
Oh
no! So it's like Tactics Ogre.
This is meant for you to play multiple times.
Oh no!
Because I'm not gonna get into the whole spoilery side of things, but basically the option that I chose has allowed me to go to this one area and pick up different characters.
Okay.
And I know that if I had picked the other option, I would have gone to a different area and gotten a different set of characters.
Gotcha.
So, but it's basically Final Fantasy Tactics.
Yep.
Which is really good, just an updated version of it. It does not have an auto battler in it, which is really stupid. I think all of them should have them now.
Yeah,
Disgaea at least has really ruined me on that.
Or at least some like turbo mode or something like that.
Something. You can hold the right bumper to make the enemies move faster.
Okay.
But it doesn't work for you. But anyway, so whole story aside, so far the story isn't anything to write home about. It's just your standard plot of betrayal and trust issues, and so far no one has daddy issues yet, but I'm assuming that's coming up soon. So
right. My father, the king.
Exactly. The real reason to pick this game up is for the tactics battling. And all the bars that you get to fill.
Yeah.
And all the upgrading of bars that you get to fill, so that way you get stars added to the bars.
Oh no!
Yeah, there's a lot going on. So your characters level up standard anytime they do anything action-wise, attack, use a skill, whatever. They gain experience. They do not get job points though. Everyone is stuck with whatever their character class is, like a swordsman or a mage or whatever. That's just what that character is. You do not equip weapons or armor to characters either. What you get... That was weird.
I have this... for anyone not watching the live stream, I have a review of Triangle Strategy here on screen. They're just showing a lot of Final Fantasy VII. I'm like, cool, that's not... Moving on, please?
Yeah. But what you do is you can equip accessories... which have just your basic stuff of, hey, this increases your health, this gives you faster speed,
plus 5
time.
defense.
Yeah, exactly. That's what's available to me right now. But then you can upgrade the character as well as level them. So when you go into the shop, select your character, and then it says, hey, this character right now, here's a bar. you need materials and money to upgrade their first icon, which gives them like +5 damage to their main weapon. Then the next one is like +5 proficiency with their weapon.
Oh,
The next
okay.
one is like, hey, this one makes, their defense go up higher stuff. So it's like standard stat boosting stuff.
Right.
Your skills and stuff that your characters gain are still based on levels. So leveling up, you get HP up, your stats go up, you earn new skills, all that fun crap. The fun thing is that with these new skills, they've added some new things that allow you to kind of change the terrain.
Oh.
So like with my fire mage, if I set a tree on fire, that square is on fire now, and anything that walks through it or ends their turn there takes fire damage now.
Oh, interesting.
The ice mage that I have can create walls of ice. So I can create choke points where enemies can't get directly to me because they can't pass through that ice.
Interesting. All right.
Which has actually helped me out a couple of times in trying to make up a killing field. There are ways around it where it's like for that fire, if you need to put that fire out, cast cast a water spell or ice spell that'll douse the flames. With that ice wall, if an enemy had put up an ice wall against me, I cast fire magic on it and it melts it.
Okay.
Now you have water on the ground. Guess what? Electricity loves water. So if there are a bunch of things standing around in water and you shoot one of them with a lightning bolt, everyone gets hit with a lightning bolt.
That's great.
So they do a lot of fun stuff like that where it kind of really changes up how you think of tactics games. I can't think of any. I don't think anyone else has really done this. I mean, it's not anything hugely new, but I don't think anyone's ever really implemented anything like that before.
No, because every once in a while you'll get some games where it'd be like, oh, you can put an earth wall here. That means you can get, like, your terrain goes up by 1. But that's pretty rare. Usually it's like, here's the map, just go fight on it.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's not anything massive, but it's cool to see it here and see how they've implemented it with the gameplay. I am at the point right now where your character gets, I forget what the coins are called because they only referenced it once, but basically you give coins to certain characters in your game, and you have like 7 of them, I believe.
Okay.
And whenever a major decision comes up, the characters that you have given coins to are there, and you have like this whole big powwow with them about, hey, I want to go here or I want to go here. So you have these group of characters that like 3 of them want to go here, the other 3 want to go here. So then you have to talk to them and try to persuade them on where you want to go.
Interesting.
And it's also based on conversations that you've had throughout the game where you'll see like this little thing that says the scales of whatever have increased for this character. It's a whole weird thing. Apparently your first playthrough, you don't get to see what bars you're filling for this.
Oh, right. So you're not seeing
playthrough,
like the hidden, like most people play Mass Effect, so it's like your hidden kind of like Paragon Renegade bar. You don't see where it's like, oh, here's this decision or this decision that you're filling up for people.
Yeah, but apparently on your second playthrough, you can see what you're filling up and who that influences and all of that. So on top of all this information of talking to people, you also find, like, you'll get these little sections in between battles where you can kind of roam around these little areas and talk to people. You get more information about certain events or things, which then can open up extra dialogue to help persuade characters to whatever choice you're looking for.
Oh, interesting.
If you do not do any of this, you won't be able to talk characters into doing what you want them to do, and you just may end up going or doing something that you didn't want to do.
Interesting. That's a real neat system.
So it's been really fun.
Yeah.
You also get this encampment that is just basically a side menu that you get to go into, and you get to do mock battles. And the way that they explain these mock battles is that it's just your character sitting at a bar that's running a mock battle in his mind. But everyone, you still get experience, you still get money, and you still get materials.
That's interesting. Man.
But yes, it is a really cool tactics game, and I'm really enjoying it. Like I said, I just wish it had auto battler. That's all. so
Or
far.
at least like some of these SRPGs also have like skipping animations where you can like turn that on and it just does damage without a archer firing his bow and pew.
I was gonna say, I'm sure there's something in the menu that I could probably turn on or off to have that happen. But oh man, I really enjoy playing that game. I can't wait to get back to it. I just stopped playing it because it's another 80-hour game.
Yeah.
Which I have a problem with, apparently.
80 if you're lucky.
Yeah.
But I'll enjoy all 80 hours of it.
That's right.
Next game that I played is Tunic.
Yes.
I sent a message to Boston. Boston,
we're talking Tunic.
Yeah, did you look up that boss fight that I was talking about?
No, not yet.
So, I am not going to spoil anything. I think at this point it's generally known that there are 2 different endings.
Yeah.
There's apparently the ending that I got, and then there's the Golden Path ending that I was not aware was a thing.
Yep.
The ending that I got, to get to that ending, I had to fight a crazy boss. Which also had me yelling and screaming at my TV. It's been a really active week for me the last 2 weeks. There's a lot going on with this boss fight. I'm not going to get into it, but I'm not going to lie. I don't fully understand how I beat the boss. With so much crap going on at once. It was just everything happened to line up, and I just managed to eke it out. Which is when I sent a message to Boston, which then a couple minutes later, I'm getting all this new information, and Boston and I are going back and forth on things that, hey, you should probably do some of this stuff. And I'm like, great, didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, I was mostly giving Nimp gentle nudges saying, like, have you figured out the secret behind this? Or are you still doing this? Or have you looked at this? To just kind of say, like, here are probably, you still have some mysteries left to uncover. Maybe you should kind of head on in this direction.
Well, and then the biggest screw job is I didn't know that this game had a God mode on it until after
I didn't either. Yeah, I had no idea.
Oh, because that was something that I had brought up to my son. I had texted him because he is also playing it, and I told him, like, "Hey, did you know this game has a God mode in it?" He's like, "No. How do you even get to it?"
No, let me go turn that on.
But yeah, I haven't since the last time we have talked. I haven't played any more of it, so I haven't done any of the hints or looked into any of the hints that you have given me. But I will get back into it because I want to see what this extra stuff is that I missed out on.
Yep.
But yeah, really great game. If they ever release a physical copy with that manual, I'm buying it.
100%. Yeah.
Thing...
Having the whole manual all at once would be like a real bummer for someone that's playing through it the first time, because like I said last week, the pacing on this game is impeccable. Anytime you feel like you're getting stuck, you usually run across a new page in the instruction manual, and you take a minute to read it, and you're like, oh, I have a lot of things to do right now. Okay.
I was saying, or a lot of the time is that you're flipping back through the book, and then you realize, oh, here's this thing that I've been staring at that I haven't really been paying attention to.
Right. It actually means something, and you're like, aha, gotcha. Yeah. So, Tunic is really good. I haven't been playing it lately. I just want to go play more of it. I'm glad the God mode is there, though, because I never found the game overly difficult, except for one of the big 3 bosses. I thought was pretty challenging. But I'm glad it's there, because when I say it's Cute Fox Zelda Dark Souls, there are a couple of boss fights in there that are very much Dark Souls bosses of like, you need to learn this pattern and you need to not get hit.
Yep. I will say one area that I hate is the quarry. And that is mostly because there is an item that you are supposed to get. And apparently I had the item, but I didn't realize it was one of those tags.
Yes. So like you didn't know how to use it.
Yeah, I thought it was an actual item that I was looking for
right
outside of that until I put it on, and then I sent Boston a message saying, "My fox looks like Psycho Mantis running around in this area."
That's right. My daughter did not like that item. She was just like, I can't. I was like, I have to right now. I don't like it either. I gotta do it, man.
Yeah, some of those enemies that get that ability from that area, after a while, I'm like, Jesus, can we stop with this? This is utter garbage. But anyway, really fun game. I will get back to it at some point, maybe this week. I think I've got... Yep, my last game that I played is Vampire Survivors.
Uh-oh. Did you get addicted to this one?
Oh, yeah. This was the thing that I told Moon and Boston before we started, that, hey, I found a roguelike that I like. And I really like it.
This has been taken over the internet for the last couple of weeks about Vampire Survivors. I'll put gameplay here on the screen just in case someone hasn't seen it.
According to my son, there's a lot of memes going on for it. I had it on my wish list for like ever, just because it's in pre-release and it's like $2.99 on Steam right now. And you don't need a whole lot to play it. I'm like, that's perfect for my computer. So, being that it is a roguelike, you pick whatever character you have available and you just go into your map. And what happens is that a horde of enemies come after you. And it's a literal horde. And you just beat them. You pick up these little crystals that give you experience. And then you level up and then you get to pick items.
And your character automatically attacks, right? So you're just moving around?
Yep. You don't, besides the daggers, which throw in the direction that you're facing, everything fires off by itself and goes off its own set path. Which was kind of a pain to get used to at first. Right. But as I feel for some of them, like with the daggers, it would be better if it was set up like a twin stick. But I switched over to a controller because it's literally just you moving your character. So it was just as simple as, let me plug in my controller and hang on to it to move the left or the left.
Yeah, here's the left stick, and now we're good.
Yep, and just listen to podcasts and let stuff happen.
Right.
This is giving me very much I made a game with zombies vibe.
Yeah, it's very much of like, I believe it's just one developer on this as well, and it was very much the... If I'm understanding from his development, was just like, I've got kind of a fun idea that I'm just going to try, and the internet was like, this is very good. You should keep working on this. He's like, oh, okay, cool. Hundreds of thousands of people are now playing that. This is unexpected.
Yeah, there's a lot of Castlevania references in here.
Yes.
Yes. As Moon had said earlier, a vow short of a Disney DNC.
Yes. Yep.
But it is really fun. You unlock characters by just doing stuff. Eventually, the first character that you start with just has a whip, and it only whips in one direction. When you upgrade the whip, it can whip both front and back of your character, and as you continue to upgrade it, it just gets more powerful. It does more damage. Then you start unlocking, you do something, or you upgrade an item enough, and you start unlocking other items. Or you unlock other characters, which you then have to buy so that way you can play as them. And each character has a different set of parameters to them. Like the first one that you get, it's like every 5th or 10th level, something like that, your attack percentage goes up by 5%, or your damage dealt. There's other characters where it's like they have less health, but the range that they can pick up items is further out, and that kind of stuff.
Oh, neat.
The chests that are currently on the stream, basically you get a window with a chest in it, and it starts puking out golden items. And it plays this funny slot machine noise as it's going. And basically what it's doing is it's cycling through all the items that you currently have equipped, and it just randomly stops on one. Generally, there's only one stream. I've come across 2 streams, 3 streams, and then 5 streams, which is like really, really rare. I've only had 1 5 stream, and they really do it up with the music. And so like it sounds like a pop song at that point when you find this chat.
Right.
But yeah, it's stupid fun. I bought this game yesterday and I've already got 8 hours into it.
There you go. I feel like that's the the common refrain from everybody is like, I'll check this out. Whoops, it's already nighttime. Okay.
Well, so the maps themselves, basically the run goes, you pick your character, you drop into a map. The map is basically infinite so far. I haven't found like a border or anything. So you just keep running around. The enemies are infinitely spawning and infinitely hoarding.
Right.
You never just find one or two, except for when you first start. It's always just like 20, 50, 100 of things, whatever, coming at you. And they get progressively harder as the timer goes up. At the top, there is a timer every 5 minutes. Is it 5 minutes? I think it is. On the first map, every 5 minutes, all of a sudden, you get closed into like a circle of like these flower monsters, and everything that's in there, you have to at least whittle down, or else the flower monsters don't go away and you can't get out of there. It's kind of like a DPS check.
Sure.
Where if you can't handle these monsters right now, you're not going to handle what's coming after this. So
Right.
you might as well just die now.
Right.
So you do that. Everything gets harder and harder and harder. And before today, the longest I had on a map was about 15, 20 minutes. Today, I unlocked a new character that I was just testing out. And the first weapon that they start with is like this lightning ring, which just randomly shoots lightning from the sky at random enemies on the map. You have no control over it. I then picked up garlic, which basically creates an AoE around your character, and it pushes enemies back and it deals damage. And anything within that field constantly takes damage. And everything kept evolving to the point where my garlic field was really far out there. I had like 4 holy Bibles floating around me. I had 5 upgraded versions of the Holy Bible also floating around out there. I had a magic wand shooting off beams. I had a fire wand shooting off these massive meteorites. I'll post a picture on Discord, but basically I got all the way to 30 minutes on this.
Oh, wow.
And then death finally shows up and just kills you. Like there's nothing you can do about it.
That's great. Oh, man.
But it was getting to the point that my computer was starting to chug a little bit because there was so much going on and so many enemies on the screen.
Just
and
hundreds of enemies.
Yeah, and I had my fields expanded so far out that I was just standing there and nothing could get to me. So I was just kind of walking around picking up experience, and then I was constantly leveling up because of that. So it was just, it took a lot.
Yeah.
I really like this game.
This game is cool.
Really stupid.
Yeah.
You find random bits of gold and stuff throughout the game. There's like these torches or like candelabras, at least in the first 2 areas, that you destroy, and they drop random items. The coin that you get in this whatever run you do, you can go back. You can either use it to buy new characters that you've unlocked or to buy upgrades that you go into your new maps with, like increased health, increased damage, that kind of stuff. And you just sit there and redo the run over and over and over again.
It's kind of vibe and have a good time.
It is a very nice way to just kind of zone out and not think about anything while listening to a podcast or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just really, really like the game for some reason.
It seems really cool.
It has a compendium, like Binding of Isaac.
Nice. So
you can sit there and look at everything that you've unlocked and see what it does, because there's a lot of random stuff that I've just picked up. It's like, I don't know what this is doing. So
yeah.
But yeah, Vampire Survivor, $2.99 on Steam right now. Check it out. Really, really stupid fun.
Yeah.
That's all I've been playing this last 2 weeks.
I have been playing a little bit of Fortnite. Again, wanted to, we've been talking about this a little bit in the Discord server, but Epic Games they brought back building, and then they have added a 0 build playlist. So essentially, there's like 3 core playlists of the game: solos, duos, and trios, and squads, I think, is the 4-person one. So they've essentially brought a 0 build mode for all 4 of those different types. So you essentially have 2 types of Fortnite you can play now, with building or without building. So if you've ever wanted to play Fortnite and you're thinking, hey, the building sort of stinks, now would be a good time to hop on in and play some Zero Build, because it's really good. And I'm very happy they kept it, because when they announced that, like, hey, tomorrow building is coming back, the whole internet cried out with no. So I'm glad the plan was, separating those two playlists out. I think it's fun. I think it's good. The game I'm spending my entire week playing as much as humanly possible is Horizon Forbidden West. Now that I'm done with Tunic, I thought, hey, I should hop back into this game, because everybody's saying, essentially how the game starts off, you get through the tutorial opening area, and you go to this big town called Chainscrape, and then you kind of find out what you're doing storyline-wise, and it says, all right, your next big mission is Death's Door, so get on over there. And I went, that sounds great. I'm going to go explore for 12 hours. So I did that. And everything that I've been hearing from people that are playing it is, boy, that Death's Door mission, huh? And I was like, okay, before people just start spoiling it, I should probably go do this mission. And boy, that Death's Door mission, huh? The thing that I really respect out of this game, and there's not going to be spoilers, is that it wastes no time in getting the storyline stuff done, or getting the story started, because it's like, hey, you played the first one, let's get the story moving. Oh, if you didn't play the first one, go do that, because we're picking right up from where that left off, and we're not really. Lance Reddick did a little bit of voiceover at the beginning, but it's barely scratching the surface. So let's get going. And Death's Door has 4 major story beats all in that one mission, where I'm like, wow, this is kind of a big revelation. Oh, there's another. Wow, all right, that's a big story. Oh, you're just gonna do another one. Okay, cool. Good. So I really like that Horizon is doing that, because there's one major story beat in the first game. It's kind of this famous. I'm not going to spoil what the story beat is, because it's the explanation of the first game. But you're kind of climbing this giant mountain and a giant tower in the first game, and they give you this major, huge story dump. And at that point, you're like, oh, well, that explains every question I had. Cool. And it takes a while to get there in the first game. I kind of enjoy the mystery of that one, so I didn't really mind. But I'm kind of enjoying, in this game, literally every main story mission is all right, here's a whole lot of story about this world and the backstory and the bad guys and the good guys, and we're going to continue explaining a whole bunch of stuff. So doing that mission leads you to kind of another big story mission, and after doing that mission, the game is and lo, Aloy was asked to gather 3 things. And I was like, okay. Now here's the big seeming middle part of this game, where it's and this is level 18, and this is level 22, and this is level 24. So I'm glad I have kind of gotten to that point where it's essentially this one's in the forest, this one's in the desert, this one's on the coast. It's oh, okay, cool. So we're gonna go do those things. I did the first one in the desert, largely because I wanted the upgrade that they give you in there. The really interesting thing is, I talked about this, whatever it is, last month, 2 months ago, of whenever you run into something that you can't use or you can't get through, Aloy did a really good job of saying I don't think I have the tool to do that right now, and they would put a blocked doorway icon on the map, and it would just say blocked path, and then in parentheses, need tool. And it was nice, because I could say, oh, right, I need something to get through something over here. And during, I think it's the Death Storm mission, you get your first upgrade like that. And at that point, Aloy even says in game, like, oh, I bet I can use this to do these other things that I've seen around the world. And I was like, oh, yeah, okay, cool. I got the second upgrade, the one in the desert mission, and as soon as I got that, I just fast traveled to a bunch of these other places where I'm like, I'm going to go explore this stuff, because like there has to be some pretty cool stuff over here. There was, thankfully. But it did a really good job of leaving that icon on the map that said it was like a blocked area, but saying that you could go through this path now. So it's nice that you don't have to remember, oh, I saw these 5 different areas all over the map. I don't have to remember them. I don't have to mark them down on my own map. The game is just like, you can come back here when you got this tool, and then Aloy will say, I bet I could explore with these places with this new tool. And I'm like, yeah, man. You and me, Aloy, we're gonna go explore these places. So I'm really, really happy that the map is way better in this one about, hey, here are the cool things you do. This map is gigantic. We're gonna remember this for you. So highly appreciate that. I wish I could talk a lot more about some of the other stuff that I'm appreciating, but all of that are major spoilers. But I kind of like the core conceit of where the story is going so far. But I obviously can't talk about that because I will spoil both the first game and this game. So
yep, I accidentally caught that flak in my ear holes and was just like, great, thanks.
Yeah, yeah. There's so much stuff in the first one that it would be pretty hard to spoil all of it, even by kind of giving like the thesis statement. So you're probably still good, and that first game is really good. But I'm really, really happy with how this one is. Of course, it's still stunningly, incredibly good looking. I've been posting a bunch of screenshots and stuff on Twitter as I'm coming across like, oh, look at this cool old machine / ruin / mountain. And I'm playing in performance mode, so I'm not even playing on the like, yo, this looks the best mode. Because the 30 frames in this game was giving me a little bit of a headache, but the 60 frames, which it usually doesn't, but the 60 frame version in this game is totally fine. I am finally getting to the point where I'm getting really good upgrades for my armor and my weapons and like the equipment you slot in weapons and stuff like that. So I'm finally starting to get good stuff in there. I just got a new bow that increased my damage from like 30 to 145. So I'm doing a lot. I'm doing a lot better now, and I haven't even started upgrading it either, because they carry over the system from the first game, and they do it. I think they do it in a really smart way, where you can upgrade your weapons and your armor, and it basically increases the benefits and decreases the downsides. So, like, the armor I'm wearing right now is strong against 2 of the elements, but it's weak against 2 of the other elements. And as you upgrade it, it becomes stronger against those elements it's already strong against. And it starts off with being like -15 or -20 against these 2 other elements. And by the end, when I look at the entire upgrade tree, by the end, it's either 0 or like -5 for those elements. So I kind of appreciate that system coming back over. And I don't remember if they did this in the first one, but essentially if you're looking at an upgrade for a weapon or a piece of armor, it's usually like 4 things: money, a really common upgrade material, and then 1 or 2 pieces that you're breaking off of essentially the robot dinosaurs in the game. And it'll be really obvious which it is, because it'll be like, it's a fire bellowback heart. It's like, okay, you probably need to fight fire bellowbacks. But what's really great is you can just hit triangle and turn it into a job. And what that does is it puts it in your side quest menu and then highlights on your map where those enemies are that you get the upgrades from. So it's not like, oh, I got to scour the entire map for where an area is where this enemy is. It's just like, no, man, it's over here. It's over in the desert. Like, you were there a while ago. Fast travel to this bonfire over there, and just start. You're probably going to kill 3 or 4 of them in there. One of them will drop the thing you're going to need. So you don't have to like Monster Hunter grind these enemies or anything. It's just like, yeah, go fight a couple, break off the part. Because the thing, I don't think they did this in the first one, but you can use your like Bluetooth earpiece thing to highlight an enemy and then hit left and right on the D-pad, and it'll show you each of the individual parts that can break off of the enemy and what you need to do to harvest them. So some of them will say like, oh, this is destroyed when the robot dies, so you have to break it off before you kill the enemy. Or this one, you'll have a chance of harvesting it from the robot's remains, so just kind of go kill them. It's a much smarter system, I think, than the first game's system.
One Vinny Caravella recommends that anytime you get new equipment, you just job list all of that, because between A to B, you'll find half of that stuff on the way, just wherever you happen to be going.
Yeah, that's a good tip. It feels like there's a ton there. I have captured, no, I've whatever the word is for hacking the tall necks in this game, which is essentially like climbing the towers and doing a thing. I've done the first 2. I found the third one, which I was forewarned that you can't do that one until way later in the game. So I found it and went, it's that one. Moving on. So I would have liked to have captured that one, but I ran into some enemies that are real jerks around it. So I'm more than happy to kind of keep going on to my next location. I'm in the middle of the kind of next big mission that I'm doing. So I did the desert. That was like the middle difficulty one. I have skipped the easiest difficulty one, and I'm doing the harder one at the moment. I mentioned level requirements before. Those are not hard and fast level requirements. It's not like this is a level 22, you're a level 21, so you're not doing any damage. I think it's more there for a recommendation for how much health you have, because you gain 10 HP every time you level up. So I think it's more of like, look, if you're 18 and you come in here at 22, if you fight a boss, you're probably going to be in a little bit of a rough shape, which is kind of nice. It's not like, oh, you better get out there and grind some stuff, like you're not ready. I've upgraded a bunch of the talent trees, the skill trees. There's 6 of them. I'm not upgrading 2 of them because I don't care about either one of those. Man, there's a lot in this game, but it's one of those few open world games that I don't feel overwhelmed by. Like, it's not like every time I unveil something on the map, it's like, oh god, here's another 30 things I have to do. Like, when you find a new town, maybe there's 2 side quests. Usually there's 1, maybe there's 0. So it's not like, oh, I unlocked this side area. It's not like Xenoblade Chronicles where it's like, I unlocked the side area. There's 30 side quests here. It's nothing.
That you can see.
Right, yeah, like, and then those will spawn 10 more. Thankfully, it's nothing like that. It does feel, the world is huge, but it does feel like there's enough exciting stuff to find. It's the thing that I liked about, what was that Ubisoft Roman Gods open world game I played that I really liked?
Oh, I know the one. I can't think of the name though.
Yeah, I can't think of the name.
Assassin's Creed Rome. Who knows?
Yeah, it's like their kind of Breath of the Wild game. It feels very much like that game, where the map is big and there's a lot of interesting things to do in it, but you never feel overwhelmed. But if you're walking from one location to the other, you're kind of ping-ponging, but like, oh, there's a question mark over here. Oh, there's a cool thing over here. Ooh, a little town. So I feel like it strikes a really nice balance of interesting things to see, but never feeling overwhelming. And I just want to go play more of it, because everything that I'm playing in there feels really great. And the shooting plays great, the combat feels just as good as it does in the first one, and I really like these games. They really click with me in a way that, when you find a really good open world game, you're just like, yep, I want to keep doing all this stuff and kind of keep heading west. So Horizon Forbidden West, shockingly, a good video game. Who would have saw it coming? Yeah.
Immortals Phoenix Rising.
Thank you. The most memorable title.
I had to dig to figure out what that was.
Yeah, I hope they put out a sequel for that, because man, some of the DLC for that game was wild. That last DLC pack they came out with turned it into an isometric Diablo style hack and slash loot game.
Really?
just like man, okay, you're experimenting with this. That's pretty neat. I hope they come out with another one of those. But yeah, that's all the games I've been playing this week. Let's take a break.
Yep.
Close out YouTube here for Vampire Survivors.
And open up Steam to purchase.
That's right. And buy this thing. I feel like I probably already bought it, knowing me. That would be on brand. Let's see if there's any last minute news stories. No, it doesn't look like it. Oh, I also, like most years, I didn't put any April Fool's stuff in here, largely because a lot of them this year, thankfully, were fairly tame. I think a lot of companies read the room this year, thankfully, and wasn't like, hey man, like don't go crazy. Don't make anything really terrible this year, please.
I didn't even have access to internet most of that day, so all I saw was the aftermath, what little bit there was.
Yeah, thankfully nothing was really that bad.
Yeah, I totally forgot that England got America in the World Cup draw, I believe.
Oh, wow. Nice. Before we get started on this next segment, for the first news story, we'll talk about all of the stuff first, and we'll save the elephant in the room, which is Game Pass, until the very end of that news story. Because I sort of have it. I mean, I think we'll kind of find a natural way to couch it. It will happen naturally. Okay. Are you guys ready?
Yep.
Starting in 3, 2, 1. Let's talk releases for the week of April 4th, 2022. Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga comes out PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series consoles, Switch, and PC. How
good this looks.
Yeah, this one really snuck up on me. I need to go buy it because I know my wife and I will want to play it, and it looks really good.
Oh,
I've had it pre-ordered for my son forever now, and my wife is super excited to play it with him because they've been playing the Harry Potter Lego games.
Oh, those are good too. Yeah, I'm hoping. I haven't seen a ton of gameplay out of this, and I'm sure somebody out there is laughing at me now. But some of the Lego Star Wars stuff, where they were doing like the options of things you can build, was not that great. So I'm kind of curious to see what mechanic they're going to put into this one.
It looks like they're doing Force Awakens style.
Interesting. Okay,
which let's face it, yeah, it was a bit 50-50 in Force Awakens, but also that was the first time they'd done anything new in about 56,000 games.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I'm fine with them refining it a little bit. And also, if I get the greatest hits of the Star Wars music all over again,
Mm-hmm.
I'm fine with that. Like, give me that song, the best thing about the prequels,
Duel
gone
of the
from my head.
of the Fates.
Thank you. And give me Ray's theme, and I am totally fine with it.
Yeah, it seems like each movie is sort of a handful of levels, which is okay. I don't want like 15 levels for for 9 different movies. I don't need that much gameplay. But
have you seen the galaxy map on this thing, dude?
I haven't. I've this is people might think this is a little weird. I've gone largely media dark on this because I kind of just want to pick it up and see all of the 2,000 characters they have in here and just kind of go have fun with it and play it.
My information just comes from my son.
Galaxy map.
That's great.
Yeah. He's also super excited that there's apparently pets in this game, and
That's great.
Grogu is one of the pets.
Okay, that makes sense. Great. So check.
That's something I haven't figured out yet. Hold on a second. Let me just.
Yeah. I was gonna say check our impressions next week because I think all of us will be playing it. Your only source for Lego Star Wars games.
It looks voice acted. Again.
I think it is, yeah.
But it doesn't look like it sounds like it's been ripped from the movies. It sounds like it's either new recording or impressionists, maybe?
Probably impressionists. It seems like they've been going... I feel like after The Hobbit, everybody was like, man, you guys got to find something else to do. Like, you got someone out there is...
that was bad. That was bad.
Yeah, I think that was the point where people are like, that and like Pirates of the Caribbean, the forgotten Lego game. I feel like everybody was like, you guys got to get someone out there sounds enough like Johnny Depp to put him in a Lego game. Like, come on, man. So... probably going to be good. MLB The Show 22 comes out. PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series consoles, and Switch. Game Pass, day and date, if you want to play that. We'll see if Joe Random returns yet again. I believe Diamond Dynasty does. Seems like it's kind of what made the last one great with more content. So I see...
it's an annual release sports game. We know what's in store.
Yeah, the Matt Piscatella, I think his name is, that I follow from NPD on Twitter, is like MLB The Show superfan. Like it's his Destiny to me is MLB The Show to him, where it's like that's the thing he's playing every week, sometimes every day when there's new stuff. Like he's into it. Seems like this is going to be a pretty good release based on his scales of just like, yeah, look at this cool stuff. So fingers crossed. Chinatown Detective Agency comes out on Xbox, Xbox One, on the Xbox, the Switch, and the PC. This is kind of a neat looking, hold on, I gotta ban someone here in chat. Let's do that, and then click here and refresh. Done. This looks like kind of a cool, like 2D pixel art, point-and-click adventure mystery thing. I kind of like the style of this. So go check out Chinatown Detective Agency. It looks neat. I believe that Humble Games is publishing this one. They've been publishing a handful of things lately. Chrono Cross The Radical Dreamers Edition comes out on PS4, Xbox One, thank you Square, Switch, and PC. Couple of notes about this one. Because there's kind of
just a couple. It's Chrono Cross. You've only got a couple of notes.
There's kind of a lot going on here. So this is a remaster. So they've done the AI upscaling on this stuff. You can turn that off if you want. It looks fine. Chrono Cross is a fairly early PlayStation 1 game, so was half sprites, half polygons anyway. There is an option for a reorchestrated soundtrack, some new versions of songs. A lot of them sound really good. Their take on Time Scar, like one of the most famous RPG songs of all time, really interesting choice. Definitely not the one.
I'm sorry, I didn't. The microphone got weird then because it sounded like you said famous song and didn't follow that with One Winged Angel.
Yeah, because I'm talking about good RPG music. So like the intro to Chrono Cross. So
fighting words.
That was an interesting. That was an interesting choice for them to make. You could toggle that on and off too. But the more important part here is that they translated and put in Radical Dreamers, which is the virtual, like virtual novel, text adventure, sort of choose your own adventure kind of thing that sets up as a prequel of Chrono Cross that we never got over here. It came out on Super NES, I think, originally. So they've gone through and they've done that and they've released that as part of this package, which is very cool. If you haven't played Chrono Cross, it's a very good game. There are a bajillion characters in it, and my note to you, it's almost impossible to figure out how to get the true ending yourself. I know how you're supposed to do it. I don't know how you're supposed to come to that conclusion.
How you implement it?
Yeah, like I know what they're going for. I have no idea how you're supposed to find that out by yourself. PS1 games, am I right? Please look it up when you're going to go do it. You will read it and you'll go like, oh, okay, I guess I don't know how I was supposed to figure that out. So I have the same experience everybody else did. Also,
make sure to pay attention about the battle system too, because it is something that was only used in Chrono Cross and never seen again, really. So it's kind of weird.
It's a little weird. I think I remember the game doing an okay job of explaining it, but you're gonna need to kind of poke and prod at it for a little while.
Once you get it down, though, it's a very fun system, but it's just at first there's nothing to really compare it to.
Yeah, it's very odd. Chrono Cross is a very good game. I think its legacy has always been Chrono Trigger is one of the best JRPGs of all time, and this isn't really a direct sequel, even though it was kind of marketed as one. So if you go in and play Chrono Cross sort of by itself, it's a good game. It's solid.
Yep.
Godfall Ultimate Edition comes out PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series consoles, and PC. I feel like this is one of those games that I don't need to explain because it was released and panned so hard. I feel like everybody knows about it, and all of the updates they've made to it seem to have been fine. And then recently they came out with that free version that turned out just to be the end game. And everyone was like, yeah, wait, what? So poor
that was the PlayStation Plus version, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, yeah. It's just this poor game. I don't it's one of those things where it's like it seems from the outside like the devs were maybe their hands were tied by Gearbox. Because, reminder, Gearbox published this, but they didn't develop it. Again, I wish Gearbox would make a clearer line of delineation between those two, because, as I said yesterday on Pup, there's an ocean of interest of different between the two of those. And it just seems like a game that had a lot of cool ideas and just was never really able to get there, which is a real bummer. Slipstream comes out PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series consoles, and Switch. This is
this is the one I saw.
This is Drifting Outrun. If anyone has seen the trailer for this, looks like kind of a neat thing. The kind of tilting of the camera when you're drifting is pretty wild.
Dude, Outrun was a drift game.
Yeah, but this is like Tokyo drifting. You know, this is very much...
Yeah, in the trailer, it does have the 8086, like, right there in the trailer.
It knows what it's doing, yeah. And last game here on the list, House of the Dead Remake, which is just the name of it, comes out for the Switch. And it's not a remake, but really more of a remaster. So if you wanted to play House of the Dead on your Switch on the go, you can. That game's fine, but I hope it's not that much money, because that game is short. Right, let's move on to news stories. Surprisingly got 3 big ones this week, so let's start off with kind of the earliest one. Sony announced their consolidated service. That was codenamed Spartacus. The new final name is PlayStation Plus. Shocker. The Sony's marketing around this was, we're really looking to consolidate the offerings we have between PlayStation Plus and PlayStation Now. And that's what they did. So they have 3 tiers. PlayStation Plus Essential. That's essentially the PlayStation Plus as it stands now. You get the couple of free games a month. You get discounts. You get multiplayer. You get the cloud storage. If you're already signed up for just PlayStation Plus, it's just going to roll into this already. $10 a month, $60 a year, which is 50% off, which feels like a really wild discount. So maybe go do that, because that seems like it's very cheap.
I always buy the yearly.
Yeah, that's a wild price. PlayStation Plus Extra is the next one. You get everything in Essential. I feel like this is like a Kickstarter pitch. You get everything from the previous tier.
It literally is.
Yeah. A catalog of up to 400 of the most enjoyable PS4 and PS5 games. So this is basically Essential plus PlayStation Now. That's going to be $15 a month or $100 a year. Again, really great savings for the yearly. The top tier is Premium. You get the previous 2 tiers plus up to 340 additional games, including PS1, PS2, PSP, which is wild, and streaming PS3 games, which we will get back to in a minute, Sony.
And your name in the credits.
Yeah, that's right. And you get an exclusive digital OST. You can also stream games using a PS4, PS5, and PC. So that's kind of the stuff that PS Now does already. I don't think you can stream right now on PC on PS Now, but I could be wrong.
You technically can if you have the PlayStation 4 application on your computer, which allows you to remote into your PlayStation 4, which is how I've done it in the past.
Yeah, I've used that for the PlayStation Remote Play. This makes it seem like you can stream games on your PS5, on your PC. But I don't. There's some stuff in here that's sort of like, yeah, but what does that really mean? Like, what is that in kind of plain English? They also say time-limited game trials we offered in this tier. I'm assuming, based on this language, they're not demos, but they are game trials, like how Xbox does like the free play weekends, where it's like, these 2 games are just, you can just play them this weekend. Like, they're the full version, you can give them a shot. If it's just going to be demos, that's going to sort of be a bit of a bummer. That's $18 monthly or $120 yearly, which is kind of a lot of cash. Yeah. If you're currently subscribed to PlayStation Now, you'll roll over into this tier automatically. So let's say Wario64 might have posted a link to buying a year for $60 right now. You might want to do that right now if you're interested in buying one, or I don't know if multiple years works, kind of the way that you went into Game Pass originally, but maybe. Rolls out on PS4 and PS5 the first half of 2022. In a new interview with GamesIndustry.biz, Jim Ryan, the head of SIE, confirmed that new PlayStation Plus games, so new Sony first-party games, will not be showing up on PlayStation Plus. Kind of day and date. The new PlayStation Plus service will launch with a whole bunch of games, like the 2 Spider-Man games, God of War, Returnal, and like a handful of other games are going to kind of launch alongside with it. So let's take this in a vacuum without, say, any competitors for the moment. Sony went to great lengths in this press release to say, all we're doing is consolidating stuff and then giving you access to PS1, 2, 3, and PSP platforms alongside. And couching it in that, sure, it's fine. The highest tier is pretty expensive, and I think it's a real miss having PS3 games only streaming, especially when you can download PS1 and 2 and PSP games. having the PSP kind of be the black sheep again feels kind of bad.
Yeah, I mean, at the same time, like the PS3 games are dog. Like that architecture is a nightmare.
Yeah, but the thing that frustrates me is, if you're Sony, this is the time that you invest the architecture that you already have the documents on to get it running on your OS. That the PS4 and PS5 architecture and OS are kind of largely similar, so you would hope that they learned their lesson from the PS3, and the architecture of Sony platforms going forward is probably going to be fairly similar. You're just kind of turning up the dials as it goes, where it's like, hey, here's a great new GPU, here's fast storage and stuff like that. So this would really be the time for Sony to say, we're going to invest in getting this PS3 emulation working on PS5s, which should be able to handle this if you have the
You should be able to brute force it.
Right, which you shouldn't have to, because emulators should be able to brute force it because you're reverse engineering it. Sony has all that stuff. You should be able to make the emulation work natively. It's
I don't know.
Yeah, boot in a Linux. Let's do it again. So it's a real bummer to see. I know a bunch of people are going to be like, LOL, PS3 has no games. There's a lot of great stuff on the PS3 that most people didn't play because you were playing an Xbox 360 anyway. Like, let's be honest. So that's a real bummer. Nice to see PS1, PS2, and shockingly, PSP games are coming out on that. There are literally 0 games they have announced for that, other than up to 340 games, which, sure, I am not at all interested in it until you can start dropping any names of any games.
No mention of the Vita whatsoever.
Which is also a real bummer, I feel, because...
And I've seen a lot of people say, it's like, well, it had the touch panel. Guess what? Every PlayStation controller since PS4 has a touch panel.
Just on the front of it.
That's not a legitimate excuse.
Yeah, to me it's a real bummer because I feel like most people recognize the PSP having a really solid library. Most people recognize the Vita having been taken out back and shot way too early and just kind of limping along for a couple more years. Yeah, but it had a really good library, sort of contrary to what people say. Everyone wants to meme on Vita Island, but they love the system for a real reason. And it is a real bummer to see there being no Vita support, and it's not going to cannibalize sales of the Vita because that's non-existent at this point. Yeah. So I would have liked to have seen that. If it was the other big console manufacturer, I'd probably say, it'll come later, maybe a year or two down the line. It probably won't. So for me, I think the price is too high here for anything above just PS Plus, like just the, hey, I need to play multiplayer stuff, to maybe sell, unless the PS1 and PS2 games that are there are like more than half of the library, and it's just like, yeah, because 20 games I really want to play. We had the conversation last week. I'm going to assume that's not going to happen just because of rights. It's that giant umbrella.
But I mean, for consolidation, I mean, if you are somebody who is already paying for PlayStation Plus and already paying for PlayStation Now, you are paying roughly $120 a year anyway. Right. So, okay, the price difference for that is pretty much null.
Yeah, because that's the situation that I'm in, where I have PS Plus and Now, and I'm glad I'll get rolled into PlayStation Plus Premium once it comes around, because then I'll get to check out, how do the PS1 and 2 games really work? How do PSP games really work? Let's look at what the actual library looks like. But I don't use any of the PS Now streaming stuff because it just doesn't work that well. And I am in the town that PlayStation is in. Like, I'm in San Diego. That's where this stuff lives, and it's not a real great experience. So for me, once that expires, if the library isn't overwhelmingly stellar, I will scoot all the way down to the lowest tier where it's like, I get the free games, I get the multiplayer, great. That's all I really need.
For like somebody like me, one of the few psychos that still has their PlayStation 3 and all of their games, and their PlayStation 2s and their PlayStation 1s and all of their games, I don't need to up my service from what I'm already at, which is just Plus. Because if I want to go and play Wild Arms, guess what? The case is in the tote back here next to the PlayStation that I have.
Right, you're one of the like 200 people that have a physical copy of it.
Yeah, it's like, if I was talking about earlier, listening to the soundtrack on Discord, it makes me want to play Xenogears again, and I pulled out all of my memory cards.
Right. So let's talk about the elephant in the room, which is Game Pass, which, whether Sony likes it or not, is the direct. It's not the competitor, but it's the comparison. So when people look at this and say, Sony's like, oh well, I mean, it's not. We don't. Jim Ryan came out and there's like, well, if we put our first-party games out on PlayStation Plus, that's going to hurt sales of our first-party games. Which, yeah, he's correct. Yeah. And Sony is in the position where their first-party games are selling like crazy. So they're doing nothing but selling consoles with an incredible attach rate of games from studios they own. They don't want to change that at all.
And there is no business reason for them to do so.
Exactly.
They took the hearts and minds fight in the Xbox One, PlayStation 4 generation.
Right.
They took that fight. Thanks to whoever it was, that D-bag of Microsoft, who wanted it to be the one unit for everything. They took that fight. And they haven't needed to really step down from that podium since. And I say this as a hardcore Xbox guy. They took that generation.
Well, and they have all their third-person character action games that they put out. They're going to put out 1 or 2 a year. They're going to sell like crazy, and that's kind of all they need. And
they also kind of need that to make the revenue back on those properties.
Right.
Because they don't announce budgets for these kind of games, but you're looking, I would say, at least 200 mil into each of those titles would be my guess.
Look at Horizon Forbidden West. That was not a cheap game to make. Like, Guerrilla is not a small studio. Like, these are some incredible games. But you look directly on the other side of the fence, and you see Game Pass on a console that is now becoming shockingly readily available in the Series X. Over like the last couple of weeks, it seems like that is a console that you can potentially maybe just regularly go and get, where the PS5 is still pretty scarce.
I still get a ton of emails about, hey, Xbox bundles coming down.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, I've gotten like maybe one PS5 bundle email, which I don't need, but I'm still on the list for some reason.
Right.
So.
And you look at the incredible value of Game Pass, but I think the direct competitor here, Game Pass, of course, is still like stealing games legitimately, like legally stealing games, like we talked about last week. But you can also take a copy of Dead Space 2 on the 360, put it in your Series X, it will play with HDR at 4K at 60 frames.
And it will install it and run it off that hard drive.
Right.
Yep.
And Sony, when people started asking, like, hey, can I like pop in PS1 and PS2 games? Sony's like, that's anyways, moving on. It's like, oh, so you can't. Okay.
Yeah,
cool. I think somebody had
the stance they took.
I think someone had mentioned too that the Blu-ray player in the PS5 can't even play CDs.
It can. They were wrong.
Okay.
That was the guy from Digital Foundry. You guys, people should try things before they talk about stuff on Twitter. But that would revolutionize the internet, and we wouldn't really want that.
Well, so apparently that blew up pretty big, because I saw that and I was like, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it's really interesting because you're seeing two different approaches to both of these ideas. And Microsoft has been... The Xbox One era for Microsoft was rough. And like you said, Moon, the PS4 had big series after big series from first-party studios that did really well for Sony. And Microsoft kind of struggled to do that the entire Xbox One era. And even Halo was kind of having a hard time on the Xbox One.
Oh, everything had a hard time on the Xbox One because
Yeah.
it felt like it was getting pulled in 16 different directions.
Yeah. And it has been really interesting to see Sony take the approach of sell consoles and sell games, kind of your traditional marketing and release platform, where Microsoft has been sell consoles, get Game Pass to keep people playing on the console, because the Halo sales effect of DLC and microtransactions and other games and discounts from Game Pass and all these 20 things that kind of are circling around the Game Pass ecosystem is doing really well for Microsoft. And it continues to do better and better for Microsoft as they continue to buy more gigantic publishers and studios. So
yeah, just think about that drop that you're going to get on July 23rd, 2023, I think it is. If
of every Bethesda game from like the PS4 and PS5. Yeah. And I think that's only part of the picture, because when you look at Sony's support here, PS1, PS2, and PSP is fine. Their support for PS3 and Vita are unfortunate, and it's a bummer. PS4 backwards compatibility is really solid, and PS5 so far is solid. But I think it's especially a bummer when you look at the technology investment that Microsoft has made, which I feel like is really coming home to roost with this announcement. Like I talked about Dead Space 2, you just pop it in, hey, now it's 60 frames, it's 4K, it's HDR, like we're doing some upscaling and some dark magic, but whatever. That's not the experience you're getting over on your PS5, which it should be. Like it's
the originals.
Right. And it's such a bummer to see Sony not invest in their history of like 5 or 6 consoles that came out before the PS5, and to see Microsoft say, we're going to do the hard work to kind of preserve this stuff, preserve your purchases, and let you use the discs you already have, because why wouldn't you? And that's the attitude that Microsoft's been taking. Is like, why wouldn't we let you just pop the disc in your Series X? Like, you should be able to. And I think that's the right approach.
I have a very strange nerd culture analogy here, and I'm hoping it plays, because I'm not sure if it will or not with the whole different countries thing.
Sure.
It feels very much like this is a Forbidden Planet versus Hot Topic. Sony is the boutique experience, the boutique store with the high-end things and the expensive things.
Right.
And Microsoft is the Hot Topic, where it's like, yeah, come in and get your stuff. Some of it will be great. Some of it is terrible.
We're selling what you want.
Yeah, as long as you got $5 you want to spend, come on in here.
Right.
Whereas you go on the opposite side of things, and it's like, no. If you don't have 2 zeros on the back of that, don't come in here.
Haute couture. Yeah.
Yes.
And that has been, for better or for worse, as a Sony fan, usually for worse, that has been Sony's marketing of like, well, here's the experiences. You want to play video games like with the sparkles around them. Like that's what the Sony platform is. Like you want to play these high def video games, and it's sort of like, yeah, but I also like free games.
Yeah. I just realized that Microsoft are responsible for one of the best Sony marketing campaigns ever, in my opinion. So the Xbox One debacle, that started the hashtag for the gamers movement. And now it's come back and bit them in the backside, because now Microsoft is legitimately doing, as a consumer, nom.
Right.
Microsoft is the side I want to go to consume.
Right. That's your daily driver.
Yeah, and they also have, in my opinion, the bigger plate, the more options, the more cost-effective options. I'm on a budget, brothers. Like, I need to make sure I'm not spending $120 every month.
You can afford the $10 a month to play $200 worth of new video games every month. Like, it's an incredible value. Like,
Yeah.
It's
It's
the thing we
wild.
talked about when Game Pass first came out was if Microsoft put out 2 first-party games every year
mhm.
that I'm interested in playing, then Game Pass has paid for itself
Yep.
at that point.
Yep.
And every year since, there's been at least 2 first-party Microsoft games that I've wanted to play, or even a third-party game that has jumped on there. You think I would be playing Extraction if it wasn't on Game Pass?
You think you would have
No.
played that shark game from 2 years ago that you really liked? Like that.
Dude, I bought that game. Thank you very much.
There you go. But
It
like,
came on, it was one of those, I bought it, completed it, and it was on Game Pass the next month.
there it is. Yeah. So it's really interesting because Sony made it clear that they're consolidating services, and they were successful, and they're giving more benefits than they were before, and not putting PS5 first-party games there day one from a business standpoint is probably the right decision. From a consumer standpoint, it sort of stinks because their first-party games are $70 now for like the base game, and I'm gonna call in Jim Sterling here, where it's like the base game is not the base game anymore. So that's a super bummer. And like I said, they're not competing with Game Pass, but they really are. And man, the value of Game Pass is just crazy. And like, it's just undeniable where it's like, yeah, here's 4 generations of stuff, including the brand new, hey, you're excited about Starfield? You play that for free day one. You excited about Elder Scrolls 6? That's coming free day one too. Like, it's just the games where it's like, yes, I do want to play that. Oh, it's free.
How long
Great.
have the fans been waiting for Overwatch 2?
That's right. Negative 50 days. I don't Overwatch 2 is a real wild thing. But yes, like, and once Diablo 4 comes out, that will probably be a Game Pass day and date game. So, like, the number of studios they have releasing the number of incredibly huge, interesting looking games for free, asterisk, of course, before anyone writes in, day one. And half of the time you can just preload them now. So like 9 p.m. my time, and just start firing up these games and playing them. It's like an impossible value that you just can't not compete with.
Like,
So
you've also got things like Windjammers, which, from what I understand, is Windjammers 2 is fine. It's a very good game. It's a very niche game. I really would like to play it at some point soon. But apparently on the Sony side of things, the online population for that game was 26.
right.
The Xbox side of things was 200 to 300 or something like that. Now, that's 2 things. That's one, Sony doesn't allow crossplay, which, get over it, Sony.
It's still baffling that they do allow crossplay now, but it seems like for a lot of teams, it's just like, yes, I can make that work. It's so much work to do. So like, it's just make it easier. Come on.
I think you're missing the most baffling thing out of all of this. One, they gave this a project name.
Right.
And 2, they just let everyone run wild with it and didn't bother to like temper expectations. So now that they've announced that, okay, this is just us combining services, which is stupid, and the fact that Sony was making such a big deal out of this was stupid. But now they're trying to temper expectations of, well, yeah, of course it's not like Game Pass. Why would you think it is? It's like, because you made it seem like it was going to be this big thing, and all it is you consolidating like these levels of how much I'm paying you for what.
Well, and I think Sony's sort of confusion over this is like, why would you think we're competing with Game Pass? It's like, because you need to. That's the gold standard now. I guess no pun intended. But like, that's the standard now of, I can get all of this stuff for $10 a month. That's stupid cheap. Like I can't even pay for Netflix with that much money at this point. I'm getting hundreds of free games, and to see Sony put out just a press release and be like, "Here it is." I was hoping they would have at least put out like a short kind of state of play like they usually do, where it's like, show me some of the PS1 and PS2 games you're coming out with. Show me the PS3 and the PSP stuff you're coming out with. Like, show me. They're just like, yeah, it's a couple hundred games. And it's just like, yeah, but what
They
are...
probably can't do that because they don't know what it is, would be my guess. 'Cause
Right.
This feels like it's coming in hot. Like,
It
very
really
hot.
does. Yeah. So, I don't know. I think the nutshell here is Sony met their own internal expectations of, we did it, we consolidated it. Everybody else is like, yeah, but what about the rest of it? And they're like, see you later. So,
But for 2 jobs, you can.
that's right. You can stream a PS3. Boy. Next news story here: Breath of the Wild 2 delayed until 2023. This one isn't super surprising. Zelda series producer Eiji Onama said, we previously announced that we're aiming for a 2022 release date for this game. However, we've decided to extend our development time a bit, change the release date to spring 2023. For those of you who've been looking forward to release this year, we apologize. End quote. They haven't showed any of this game over the last year, so this should absolutely not come as a surprise. Like, Microsoft doesn't just dump a new Breath of the Wild game at during a Nintendo Direct. We're just like, it's May's Nintendo Direct. Breath of the Wild 2 is out today. It's like, no, they're doing a big marketing push for that.
There is a hype train that needs to be followed with that, but this is fine. They've not showed barely anything for it, and guess what? They come out and say, hey, guess what? We had to delay it. What a shame. That's fine. Breath of the Wild 1 struggled on the Switch sometimes, so who knows what they're doing with this thing? So
that's really my
time you need.
That's really my big concern with this game now, is just the natural inclination for open world games is like, well, the map is double the size, and it's like, I don't think you can do that. Like, the whole thing about this game allegedly is now you have this whole area up in the sky to explore. I hope the Switch can handle that.
Well, depending on how they do it, though, it could just be as simple as, hey, you have a load screen anytime you go from the ground to the sky or back.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, exactly.
Is there going to be a load screen between the two things?
I'm going to teleport to the sky. Here's a quick tip.
Which I would be perfectly fine with. I'm not one of those people that's like, my Switch better catch on fire the moment I turn this game on.
That's right. Load times in an open world game. It's like, come on, man. So
do you people not remember how long you had to wait for Grand Theft Auto 5 on the 360?
Have you seen the new load times on PS5 and Series X?
No.
It's like 40 seconds. It's great. Instead of like literally minutes, it's just like, it's like 40 seconds. And that's a bummer of a port, by the by. They couldn't get GTA 5 to run at 4K on either one of the current gen consoles, which, why? But, that struggling with that GTA Online.
Because they don't have the bends anymore, dude.
Yeah. They just don't care. They're getting GTA Online native on there.
Ever.
Yeah, they're getting GTA Online native on the consoles. That's what they wanted to do. Like, that's all they're doing. Other news story this week, also surprisingly not a shocker, E3 2022 has been canceled. And by that, I don't mean the physical one. I mean also the digital one. ESA said, quote, we previously announced that E3 would not be held in person in 2022 due to the ongoing health risks surrounding COVID-19. Today, we announced there will also be no digital E3 showcase in 2022. Instead, we will devote all of our energy and resources to delivering a revitalized physical and digital E3 experience next summer, end quote. So this tickled me the most. Because it was immediately that Simpsons gif of Jeff Keighley jumping on this and like, stop it, he's already dead kind of thing. Jeff Keighley immediately tweeted out like a smirking emoji.
As like a smirking emoji, and then literally 2 seconds later was, by the way, we've got the Summer Games experience coming to you by this. And it's just like, come on, Jeff. Now, come on. Like, there's no need for that. Do it. Don't get me wrong, do it, but there's no need for it because screw the ESA is all I have to say about that.
I mean, the ESA has had problems for easily the last decade. You could probably say the last 15 years. And them saying, like, we're going to be back next summer. It's like, no, you're not.
No, you're not.
This is like, of anything, this is more than likely the final nail in that coffin, because Microsoft and Sony and Nintendo had already largely pulled out of the show. EA and Ubisoft had pulled out a while ago, and they're doing their own thing. And like Nintendo does their own direct like every month. Sony's doing their own one every other month. I'd like to see Microsoft do something a little bit more proper than kind of what they're doing right now. I feel like they could just largely steal what the other two are doing and be successful about it. Maybe 2022 is that year.
They have a weekly show, dude.
They do, but like there needs to be a bigger one that happens less frequently. I don't want Major Nelson doing a weekly thing. Like I want like a Nintendo Direct thing where it's like, here's a big one with bigger releases, like something you would show at E3 like Nintendo does.
You want Spencer to show his face. I see what you said.
I wouldn't mind.
I love Spencer.
I wouldn't mind if Spencer and like a couple of other people were doing like a quarterly thing where it's like, all right, here's what all the studios are. Here's the new Fable game. We're gonna show you a minute of it. Like here's Forza 8. Like here's we're gonna show you 3 minutes of that. Like
I got the dumbest idea as well.
Oh no.
They use the 360 controller dual.
Mm-hmm.
And for Q1, you have the player 1 symbol. For Q2, you have the player 2 symbol. For Q3, you have the player 3 symbol. For Q4, you light the whole thing up.
Perfect. Microsoft, send a check over here. But I would like to see Microsoft, because I know they do the weekly stuff. They do a good job of kind of making sure that Spencer and company are on like IGN and Kind of Funny and like bigger podcasts and shows and outlets like that. But I really wish...
my favorite part of E3 was Giant Bomb talking to Spencer. Like him and Jeff sitting down was always my favorite part.
It's so
of E3.
good, yeah. And I wish they had that kind of thing where when Nintendo announces a new like proper direct, and it's not like here's a Pokemon one or here's an indie. I love the indie ones, by the way. But when they announce a direct, everyone's like rubbing their hands and they're like, oh yeah, here's the good eats. Like I wish that Microsoft and Sony each had one. Sony's trying to work on it and largely failing, but I wish Microsoft had a comparable thing.
Here's my question: do you think Microsoft still does an event at that theater? Because they own that theater. They do a showcase?
Probably. I feel like you probably have them do something in the theater, even if there's no audience here. But we're still doing like a live stream. And we got a bunch of people. Here's a big cool thing. Like even the Summer Games Fest and even Gamescom opening night live that Keighley also does, like that's even like here's a big stage for just Keighley. You know, Keighley, he get plenty of room to run around, keep himself energized. Like, you know, you got a big space like that. I bet Microsoft still does that.
Here is my question then, and this is maybe an off-air discussion, maybe not. What does this do for our E3 show? Does that mean I don't have to spend all week watching E3 videos to come in here and talk?
It makes our shows a lot shorter.
Yeah, I think the unfortunate bummer about it is we probably don't have an E3 show this year, for better or for worse.
Spectacular is like 3 months long. They have one event which we can cover in a news story.
Yeah, it will be a lot less work for me, that's for sure. But I feel like a lot of people, ourselves included, are kind of happy that E3 is going away, because it's kind of like this aged dinosaur, especially looking at Nintendo Direct and State of Play and stuff. But I think it's still really important for the gaming public at large, because it's the big video game show every year. They don't cover like Gamescom. They don't cover TGS, because that's overseas stuff. Like this was still the big. They're not covering whatever the hell Penny Arcade is still doing. Like they're not covering that stuff. They're covering this one big trade show, and I don't think we have a replacement for that.
I was like, because PAX has pretty much stopped doing video games too. Like they kind of started getting into it, and then they just kind of stopped.
Yeah. So I don't know if we have like a real replacement for it, which is sort of a bummer from kind of an industry-wide perspective. So I'm not. I guess the answer to that is we probably don't have an E3 show anymore, which is kind of a bummer, but for my sanity is probably a good thing. All right, let's move on to questions here. 100% True asks me in chat, Michael, did you read all those books? Joke's on you, they're video games. Second question here from Angelo F. on Twitter. Sent me a DM. Hi, I wanted to ask a question for the show. Since getting a PS5, I've started playing a lot more games, mostly because it's so easy to get in and out of a game. PS4 load times had me really down on playing games. Now I'm catching up, and I was wondering how you all manage playing multiple games at a time. Right now I'm juggling 3 open world games, Elden Ring, Horizon Forbidden West, and Red Dead Redemption 2, and each of them have mounts and all work differently. I'm also playing Hitman and Ratchet & Clank as side games too. All in caps, so many games.
So let's first of all, let's talk about that 3 open world game stuff. That's rookie numbers, friends. Like, you need to get that at the 5 or 6 minimum.
That's right. You got to get confused with the icons and all the... Like, I was confused when we're playing... Right now we're playing Dreamscaper for We Will Rogue Like It. If you have Game Pass, you're not playing Dreamscaper, go do it. It's great. But that has a dodge mechanic on B. Tunic has a dodge mechanic on A. So I was like switching between the two of them, being like, why am I getting hit? No, okay. Yeah.
That's why I can only play one Souls game at a time.
That's right.
Because you have to be used and on top of certain control mechanics, or else you're just gonna have a bad day.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And in all honesty, like, there's 2 ways of doing this. Number 1, you just realize that if you switch frequently, you're gonna mess it up a lot.
Yeah.
And number 2, try and play basically one genre of game at a time. So, like, maybe do the one open world game, Hitman and Ratchet & Clank. They all work separately enough, I think, that you can get away with that. Whereas, like, for me personally, it's also a time thing where I don't have the time to put into that many open world games at once anymore.
Right.
And that's why at the moment I don't actually think I'm playing any open world games, because I'm terrified of them at this point.
Yeah, well, and you just don't have like the dedicated time to sit down and like finish one mission in an open world game, which is like 2 or 3 hours maybe.
Yeah, which is why I was expressing my frustration with Destiny when it was like, look, it's a campaign mission that took me 45 minutes by myself because it was supposed to be played with other people and I'm an idiot.
Right.
But like, it's one of those things where it's like you're either going to mess it up or you're going to get used to it. That my favorite thing is switching between the PlayStation and the Xbox is relatively okay for me because I was a PlayStation kid, so I know the circle and the X thing. It's the Switch that throws me every single time.
Every single time. Yep, the B and the A being switched.
That's why Breath of the Wild I love, because it just it highlights the button placement, not the actual button number.
I'm so happy more games are doing that, where it's like shows the 4 circles and it highlights the one you're going to hit.
And it's the one on the right.
Yep, and I'm like, great, I can do that, no problem.
Yep. That's perfect. Like, you do that for me, and I am much appreciative because I cannot remember what's A and what's B.
Everyone remembers where the right button is.
Yeah, exactly.
At least we're now officially, I believe we're officially at the point where we're not at that PlayStation 2 era, where depending on if your game was a Western game or a Japanese game, circle confirmed or cancelled.
Yes.
That was the worst.
Yep.
They did fix it, which made a lot of Japanese people angry.
Yeah, I still don't understand why they messed up so much with the PS5's OS, and still, like, you single tap the PlayStation button to pull up the menu, you hold it to do.
Off
still makes me mad.
Just now, when I had to reset it for my wife, and I'm sitting there like tapping it on the PS4,
right? And you're like, why are you not doing anything? So frustrating.
I'm sorry, if you hold that logo button, that should be the power off sequence every time.
Yep. It still messes me up with like my Series X, where I'm like, oh, I pushed it. Oh, it opens up that dumb slide out menu. Come on.
Yeah.
Hey, don't insult the guys.
I still don't. It needs to be fast. That OS needs to be faster. It should not be that slow. Microsoft. That's a powerful console. Speed it up. My thing with open world games is I have found over the last couple of years, I just need to focus on one, because usually if I'm playing one and I'm enjoying it, a new one comes out and I'm like, well, look at how cool. This thing does so many cool things. Look, I don't want to play that old junk. Like, look at that one doesn't even have icons for, diving underwater. What the hell? For me, I have to like focus, just do this one. Probably not 100% it, because these games are like way too big now.
How dare you? How dare you?
How dare you besmirch AC Infinite? That game's gonna be so big. I'm so scared of it.
No.
I just. It's gonna be so bad.
I don't even know if I want to deal
say,
with that type of game.
I know.
My favorite thing about the most recent Assassin's Creed games is they've got away from tying the achievements to percentages.
Yes.
Like,
thank you. Yes.
Starting with Origins, they were just like, yeah, you don't have to do anything anymore to get all of these achievements.
Do like half of it, and we'll call it a day. It's like, all right, that's
half
fine.
of it, and these select few missions here and there that are worth achievements. Other than that,
I can meet you in the middle, Ubisoft. Sure. Let's actually. I just looked over at the clock here, and it says we've been recording for 3 hours. So I think we're going to scooch this question from Pharaoh Reigns into next episode, because we are out of time now, because it's starting to get late for my compatriots here, and I'm also starting to get hungry because it's dinner time for me. So thank you very much, everyone, for listening.
Getting late? What are you talking about? Getting late? I have
That's
no
right.
idea what you mean when you.
Louise is on top of you, giving me that feed me face. Moon is in pitch darkness right now.
I'm not that much better.
Oh, that click you heard was Moon turning off the light. That was really great. If you'd like to visit us, you can do so at tvgp.tv. Everywhere to find and follow us is on the right-hand side of the page, including the link to the Discord or discord.tvgp.tv. Made a couple of subdomains this week. You can go check that out there. Join the best community on the internet. Also, don't forget to be our patron over at patreon.com/E1M1.
Demands and numbers.
Talked about all the benefits you get at the top of the show. If you want to see where all of your hard-earned money goes, I am very transparent about where all the budgeting and all that stuff on the page. You can check it out over there. And don't forget to tell your rich friends, because your rich friend can help this help me pay for all of us, which would be great. And like a new computer for Moon, could get some new microphones, get new webcams. The sky's the limit. Only your rich friend can help us over at patreon.com/U1M1.
The ones and numbers.
And if you can't support us financially, totally understand. The best way to support us and any show you listen to or live stream or whatever, or Louisa's cute kitten face, is to share it online. Tell your friends. Word of mouth for anything you watch or listen to, especially for small content creators like us in a fledgling industry, is to share it with your friends. Word of mouth helps a ton. I'm going to be salty about that for the entire year. That stuff really, really does help, including rating it 5 stars anywhere you listen to it. Greatly appreciate it. I think that's it. So we'll see you all next week. Bye.
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 Luis is getting all the way in there, man.
That's going to be some messed up hairballs.
Yeah.
Your breath smells like death, young lady.
Just
Like,
She learned it
how
from you.
grumpy she
Yeah.
looks.
yeah. I'm so hungry. It's got flicky tail and everything.
Go over there. Go.
Goodbye. All right, Nimp. What are your titles?
I have Napoleon Blown Apart, An Audience of Me, Bio-Digital Jazzman, and all of our favorites, Fledgling Industry.
There's... I was laughing so hard I messed up spelling that. Fledgling industry. Moon, what do you have? I didn't write down any titles, so I'm hoping for the best from both of you.
An audience of me. Yeah, good luck with that, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
It's all in the meta. That's not triangle strategy. Death just shows up. A couple of notes. Licenses, that umbrella, and Forbidden Planet versus Hot Topic.
That's a good one. Fledgling Industry, I think, is on my short list. What else are you guys feeling?
I like the audience of me because I feel like we all talked about stuff this week that could apply to.
Mm-hmm. Was it the audience of me or an audience of me?
An audience of me.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I had.
Okay. I want to make sure I heard correctly. I like that one too. I'll put a check mark next to that. I think that edges out Fledgling Industry for me. An audience of me. Because I think you bring up a good point. I feel like that was kind of the theme of this week, is like we're all kind of playing a bunch of stuff that didn't cross over with other people, and they're very much like me games. For each
Except
person.
for the one roguelike that I was playing.
Yeah. Well, you gotta throw a little bit of spice
We're
in
not
there.
allowed to play roguelikes on the main show anymore. We've got to save that for
That's
hashtag
right.
content.
We've sequestered ourselves. Yeah.
There's a very clear conflict of interest if we play
That's right, that's
roguelikes
right.
on the main show.
Right.
It just saves yourself time. Then you just pull out the information of what you said from the
There
main
you go.
show.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Cutting-
You just have to try with the rankings episode, and then
Well-
you're good to go.
Well, the problem there is all of these roguelikes need to be put into a blind trust that we have no access to. So then they can go up and down in value without us knowing anything.
That's right. We'll put them on the blockchain. No. I think I'm. I think
of me.
Yeah, I think I'm voting for that one this week.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Circling. Let me know when you're ready. This may be a tougher one.
Mm-hmm.
Also, apologies to Ferrer. I have your question here in the notes. I was planning on getting to it, and then I looked over the time, and it was like 2 hours and 52 minutes in the recording session. I was like, well, gotta go. Well, who needs an E3 episode anymore? We're just recording a 3-hour episode in the first week of April.
Yeah, that's true. But that was like an hour of pre-show.
That's true. We did have a good pre-show. Patrons will enjoy that one.
I think I'm ready.
Moon has his good pensive face on over there.
Because I'm trying to think.
He's going through his like meme Rolodex. Flip, 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 flip.
Did
Pretty
I
much,
leave
yeah.
the oven on?
That's
or...
right. Hit bash.org and hit random.
Louise
No,
has distracted me.
What's the I want to make the right reference here.
Right nerd reference for coding.
Random greater than 0. That's the one you want. You don't want just random, because that can get you kind of the garbage.
Dude, that gets dark.
Yeah, that
real
gets
dark.
bad.
Okay. I'm gonna continue the full loop. Because it's a reference that I absolutely adore.
Okay.
It's going to be another Hot Topic reference.
No.
No, it's probably a Dale North reference. He's been showing up everywhere. That little scamp is showing up all over the place. All right. Starting in 3, 2, 1. This is That Video Game Podcast, episode 754 for April 4th, 2022. An audience of me.
I really want to put on my robe and wizard hat.
I feel like I'm the only one that gets excited when it says JRPG.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone. Super appreciate it. Thank you, everyone, for joining us live, especially a bunch of new peeps. Thanks for coming. I hope you join us next week. Same time, same place, same show, probably. New topics.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
That's right.
Same back games. Let's not forget about that.
All right. Bye, everyone.